This was so much faster. So much faster. Okay. All right. And I don't know why my laptop is just like, I don't know why. All right. Okay. So I'm just going to give it a couple of moments. Let like at least a couple of people pop in before I get started. Do, 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 do. Oh, there's a top on there. Totally there's a top on it. There is absolutely a top on there. Gotta love the springtime. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Make sure you say good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. Get comfy. Have a seat. I hope everybody is doing well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is like about to be March, y'all. Can you believe it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right. Well, I got people in here, so I'm gonna be polite, not keep y'all waiting. Y'all make sure y'all say good morning. Um, March is upon us. It's the last day of February, the last day of Black History Month. We're getting ready to go into March, springtime, the astrological new year. And March says we're going to get things popping with two major astrology transits. So, my intention today is to kind of talk about just some impressions I got because I woke up with it on my mind and kind of share some of those things. I am not doing readings today, but I may go live on a day when I don't have the kids and may do rising signs just to kind of give y'all some more individualized insight. But I did want to talk about it because it's important. So for all of you who are new here, hi. Thank y'all for the likes already first thing in the morning. Thank you for the taps on the screen. Um, Hi, I am Iadania. I am an Ifa priestess and a spiritual awakening doula. And I like to talk about all things spiritual within a practical approach to spirituality. And astrology is a topic that I really, really love. I loved it as a kid, and I was really excited to come back to it when I started having a conscious awakening. So, first, I want to kind of talk for those who aren't into astrology, especially since I'm going to use this for my podcast. Why is astrology important, in my opinion? So, this is the way I see about things because I know a lot of people say, hey, astrology is just a coincidence, blah, blah, blah. And this is how I feel about coincidences. The regardless of the tradition and how many aspects of the source, one thing is consistent across most traditions that there is one originating source. There's one source that has many faces, aspects, and impressions. So that source created everything, including all of the planets, the stars, the meteors, asteroids, all of these things in the cosmos. So why? Why are they there? Just like we wonder why we're here, why are they there? Why are these things existing? Hi, okay, Facebook and YouTube, y'all got to say hi and good morning to me because I can't tell which one y'all are. But good morning to you regardless. So why did God create these things? Because it looked cool? Because it looked cool? So I'm like, okay, so this looks as like a cool thing to do. Like, I think these big rocks of gas and molten are going to float through the cosmos and it's just going to look awesome. Oh, this is going to look amazing. And I'm like, all right, well, you know what? This is what we're going to do. I am going to make it look really, 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 really awesome. But guess what? You know what? That sounds crazy. Uh, like they're just gonna move around. They don't hit each other. They're just moving around in this synchronous orbit of some sort for no reason whatsoever, other than the creator thought it looked cool. And I'm like, okay, you know, all right. So as the energy is moving throughout the cosmos. So all of us are of the energy of source. Everything is attached to source energy, including the planets in the cosmos, including the space that the planets inhabit is also full of source energy. So all of that energy is moving through the planets and the stars and whatnot in the cosmos. Then where's that energy going? Well, it's moving through all the other planets and stars and things in the cosmos, including Earth. And so since we're all on Earth and then we're all being hit with all the energy from Earth plus the other planets and stars and things in the cosmos, there is a nudging. There is a whisper that the source is like, hey, I bet you should focus on this part of your life right now. or I bet you should do this thing in this area of your life right now. And that's simply what astrology is. Astrology is the ability to understand that the creator had a creation in mind when mapping out the cosmos, when mapping out how things and planets and things like that were going to move. Good morning to everyone just walking in. Um, there's a plan in mind. So, what astrologers do is they were tapped, whether they were tapped directly or a teacher got caught their attention and they learned from a teacher, they were tapped to help try to make sense of what's happening and kind of explain things. So today what I'm going to talk about is Saturn moving into Pisces and Pluto moving into Aquarius. And because this is coming at the end of the transit, and for the last year or some change, I've kind of been paying attention to my astrology even deeper and understanding what's been happening. I'm going to use some things that I know personally that have happened for me to help show it, kind of illustrate this in a way that is practical to you. Now, Pluto is very, very significant because Pluto will take decades to go through a sign. Decades. It's been in Capricorn for 16 years. So thinking about, as I'm talking about, what some of these things symbolize, and I wrote down notes so I could stay organized. But what has been going on and what's been transforming, what's been shifting in your life for the last 16 years? Good morning to everybody just coming in. What has been asked you to reform, reorganize, and restructure with Saturn for the last couple of, like the last two years and a little about 2 years? Where have you been seeing some of these shifts happen? And I'm going to give you some keywords to think about. I'm going to give you some sentences to think about that will help you to kind of look at your life and say, okay. And what's happening is you're going to be asked to learn, because both of these planets are going to retrograde for a little bit. So you're going to end up going backwards, because the question is, did you learn? Did you pay attention? Like, I did all this stuff, but did you actually take notes? Did you pay attention? Did you get crib notes on what was going on? Because, when we move forward, you're either going to bring baggage with you or you're going to come through this new journey lighter. You're going to, like Erica Badu said, you're going to pack light as you move into this new journey and to this new transformation and move into this new area of restructuring and transformation. You want to make sure that you're not bringing any baggage with you. And that's what retrograde is going to do. Retrograde is going to be like, look, you're still carrying baggage. You haven't learned. You haven't paid attention. So I'm going to snatch you off your hamster wheel, because you won't get off willingly. Because I need you to grow. I need you to move forward, because I want to see you be the absolute favorite version of you, the version of you that you just absolutely love every experience the most. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Thanks for coming in. So let's talk about when these shifts are going to take place. So the first one's taking place next week. March 7th, we have a full moon. So this means that the sky is being illuminated for a reason. Like, we're about to see real clearly where we have been restructuring and reorganizing our life. So March 7th, we have a full moon happening, and this is in the sign of Virgo. So this is I analyze. This is the analytical sign. This is also a sign of service. That's happening at 7:40 a.m. Then immediately behind it is when we get Saturn moving into the sign of Pisces, dipping into the sign of I dream, I believe. Pisces, what most people don't talk about Pisces, it's the end of the zodiacal line. That means it is the elder of the line. It is the one in the line that has been through all of the journeys through the previous 11 signs. It is the wisest of all the signs. That's why it is a sign of believe. It's why it's so nebulous, because it's no longer grounded in that energy of the earlier signs. It is completely enveloped in the divine. That's why it's aligned with creativity and music and all of these things that kind of like bring people together in dreams. But sometimes it can, disassociate, because it's like, I've already been through all of these things. I really don't want to experience them again. So this is why sometimes it can be seen as a sign of illusions, because it's like, I don't want to look at that stuff. I've already done all that already. Why should I have to continue to look at that? Because you need to continue to take all of the lessons from your past and help them to build and restructure and reorganize your future. Good morning to everybody that's just coming in on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Good morning, Facebook and YouTube. Make sure y'all say good morning because I don't know where you are. So this is where Saturn is going to help ground some of that Pisces energy and help it get structured. So we'll talk about like some of those things and what that might look like for some of us. So that's happening on the 7th. Saturn is moving into Pisces on the 7th. Then on the 23rd, this is going to be a huge generational shift. This is Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius. So we have the planet that is death, rebirth, transformation, the occult, your psychic gifts, all of these various things, and it's moving into the sign of Aquarius. And thinking about where have you experienced up like if you read tarot, like tower card moments, what area of your life has been like torn down and rebuilt probably multiple times? What area of your life have you experienced like huge transformational shifts in your life? That's probably where Aquarius is in your chart. Where the biggest ones. It's not that it's the only one, but these are the ones that have been like life altering shifts and transformation. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the likes. Thanks for tapping the screen. So this is where we're going to see new transformations, new growth, new renewal is going to be coming. And a lot of us are already feeling like the squeeze. We're feeling this last little squeeze. It's like we're a tube of toothpaste right now. And where the last little squeeze is happening because Pluto is sitting right at the end. So you're trying to get all that last little bit of lesson, all that last little bit of growth, all that last little bit of I'm going to move all of these things out of your way because they are no longer of your highest and greatest good. We're squeezing all of that out because Pluto is not one to carry that baggage with us. It wants us to dig deep into the recesses of our being and uproot anything from us that does not serve us. And sometimes that uprooting can feel like upheaval. But when we realize the lesson of the Tower card is not that things were torn down, it is that on top of that rubble, we can build a stronger foundation. And that's what Pluto wants us to do. It wants us on top of the rubble, on top of the debris, on top of the things that no longer work. So we had to shatter them. We are going to take all of those things and build on top of them a much stronger foundation that is going to last longer. So that's when things are happening. So Saturn has been in Aquarius around off and on since March 2020. So March 2020, around the 21st or 22nd is when it first went into Aquarius. So think about March, everyone has one collective, this is how one collective memory from March 2020, the entire collective. And for me, what I realized is around that time is when my manager called me and told me, don't go back into the office to work from home. Like it hadn't even been announced to the building, but my manager was like that week was like, hey, don't go back in there. Don't go back in there. If you have if you need something, go get that, but do not go back in there to work. And it hadn't been announced to the office yet that we were going to be working from home. The other thing that happened for me is that is also the anniversary when I started my locks. So major things were happening around March 2020. Think about all of the things for yourself personally and collectively that were going on around March 2020. Then it went into retrograde for a little bit. So it dipped back out. It went back out of Aquarius and it came back in December. So December 17th is when Saturn went back into Aquarius, and it's been there this whole time, and it'll be there until March 7th. So think about during this space of time, what have you been asked to be more disciplined in? Where have you seen limitations that you had to overcome through your tenacity? Where have you seen things become more aligned for you? Where have you been tested? Where have you been asked to be mature? Where have you been asked to formulate a plan so that you could be successful? Where have you been asked to think before asking? Where have you seen yourself go through cycles like you were on a hamster wheel and you really just wanted to get off? Saturn is the great teacher, and it is always asking us, what did we learn? Saturn is the natural ruler of Capricorn, which is a sign of I succeed and I manifest. Well, why is Capricorn able to succeed and manifest? Because it's ruled by Saturn. Saturn is structure. That means when you have a stable structure, you are able to build longevity for success. And that is what Capricorn does. It is an earth sign. So it wants the stability, and stability comes with longevity, which means you need a stable structure. And Saturn is like, I'm going to discipline you to create something that is stable where you have the longevity of success. This is also the sign that rules the 10th house. This is your legacy. This is your authority. This is authority figures. This is your success and your public image. So all of these themes were happening in a place in your birth chart that you needed to see longevity, where you needed to build structures, where you needed to start creating a stable foundation so that when it moves on, you are still able to continue to build success in that particular area of your life. So for me, Saturn was sitting in my eighth house. So in astrology, we speak about your birth chart as a pie. For my non-astrology course, your birth chart is a pie. Everybody's got a pie everybody gets pie when they're born. You get pie, you get a pie. It's like Oprah, everybody got a pie. And your pie is in 12 slices. That's a lot of pie to eat. 12 slices, and each slice of your pie is related to an area of your life. It's related, and those are called the houses. So each slice of pie is an area of your life, and each slice of pie has a zodiac sign associated with it. That's kind of why I laugh sometimes when people post these memes and they say, I don't want to date a such and such. Do you not want to date their sun, moon, rising, or Venus? Which one of these areas of their life areas is the one that's vexing you? Because it may not be their sun that's vexing you. It might be their moon, because that's the depth of their emotions. It could be their Venus, because that's their love language. So each slice of pie has a zodiac sign. The zodiac sign is the filter. This is the lens through which you see that particular area of your life. And then the planets that are hanging out there or influenced in that particular area of life are the actions that you tend to take within that specific area of your life. So when a transit happens, there is a planet asking you to take action in some area of your life through a specific lens, through a specific filter. So for me, this is my eighth house. So Saturn in Aquarius. So what, again, limitation, structure, restructure. So the area that I needed the greatest amount of restructuring in my life was how I thought, my ideas, my communication. Why? Because Aquarius is an air sign. So for everybody collectively, Saturn in Aquarius was asking us to think about how we think about how we talk, think about how we share ideas. And with Aquarius being a sign that is very humanitarian and collective, this would probably be how we talk to each other, how we talk to communicate with other people. How do we communicate with each other? Thinking about what we started, the journey that we underwent through March, and the amount of communication we did not have with friends and loved ones, how we had to be more creative in how we interacted with people on a global scale. Again, this is why I say like that this was a collective shift. Like, you can't just go and run up to people like you used to. There has to be some discernment. You can't keep going the way that you used to. So Saturn was like, I'm going to teach you, because clearly nothing else is going to get your attention. So boom, this is what's going to get your attention. Let me gather you right now. So for me, this greatest shift was happening in my eighth house. So the areas of my life that were most impacted were emotional consequences of relationships. Eighth house, a lot of times people talk about it as other people's money, but the eighth house is also about joint resources, but it's intense unions. So, like your seventh house is one on one relationships, like your best friends and things like that. But the level of intimacy that is in that relationship is found in your eighth house. So, the seventh is the relationship itself, but the eighth is like how deeply invested are you in this relationship? How deep can you go? This is also your relationship with the unconscious and unseen realm, because it's also, this is occult and your unconscious and letting go. This is also the area that rules surgery. This is the area of death and rebirth. So all of these things were under scrutiny for me personally. So if you want to know what was going on and you don't, you need your birth chart, you also need your date and time, your the date, time, and location of your birth to get the most accurate version so that you know which area of your life was impacted. You won't be able to tell the area of life if you don't have your time and location of your birth. So for me, it was my eighth house. So some things that went on with me while Saturn was hanging out in my eighth house. One is I had a conscious spiritual awakening. So this started in March 2020 when Saturn entered Aquarius. This is when this happened. I locked my hair. This was not a plan. I didn't make an appointment to go see somebody and say, oh, I'm going to lock my hair. That's not what happened. I literally just woke up one Saturday morning, and I really want to say that my anniversary is the 22nd. Woke up and said, I'm going to just lock my hair. So I'm just sitting there watching TV, two strand twisting my hair. No plan, no nothing, two strand twisting my hair. Transformation. Like, this is a huge area, especially since Aquarius is my sun sign. So this is also part of my identity. This is happening conjunct my sun. So how I present it to the world was transforming in a major way. And it was transforming in a way that made me rethink how I felt about myself. Like, this is a psychological area of your birth chart. So how did I feel about myself? Because initially I probably would have wore a wig. Real talk, keeping it 100. Because I think, I'm trying to think, actually this baby lock right here, that's about how long all the twists were in my head. And I was so self-conscious because I have a large head. So self-conscious about not having a lot of hair on my head, because then I can't hide the fact that I have a big head. And of course, especially growing up as a woman of color in the 80s, you weren't beautiful unless you have long hair. So then there was also that stigma associated with it. And all of these things were like, you're not going to be able to get the deepest emotional connection if you don't even have it with yourself. So I had to build a deeper, more intimate relationship with me in order to deepen the intimacy with other people. I started going to therapy that year. I started going to therapy. I had to acknowledge my depression in 2020. 2020 is also the year that my husband asked me for a divorce. So all of these things like were happening. And that divorce thing speaks to Pluto hanging out in my seventh house. So Pluto and Saturn were like running they were like, you've been living this way and it's just not in alignment with you. So we're about to shake some things up. We're just gonna grab you by the shoulders and shake you a little bit, because we've been trying to teach you this is the easy way all this time. See, the divine is not, it doesn't immediately go into a tower moment. It doesn't immediately go into upheaval. It doesn't immediately go into, I'm going to shake your foundation, because it's always trying to tell us something. It's always trying to whisper in our ear, hey, you might want to fix that. Hey, you might want to fix that. Hey, you might want to fix that. You'll have people who don't follow astrology, but their astrology friends are always telling them what Mercury goes into retrograde. You might want to make sure your passwords are up to date on all of your stuff. You might want to do some maintenance on your car. Why? Because Mercury retrograde doesn't simply make your exes come back. Mercury rules travel, short distance travel, like in your car. So making sure your car is doing what it's supposed to do. See, I had to learn my lesson. Mercury retrograde 2021. First one, I had to get brakes I had to get all my brakes done. Second one, I had to get a new tire. Third one, I had to get a new tire. Well, this last Mercury retrograde, oh, you're not going to get me again. You're not going to get me again. Let me go ahead and get my oil change. Check everything. Lights, fix them. Go ahead and check everything that I need to do right now. Go ahead and do it to my car now. See, the issue is not that you have to have the upheaval in order to learn. You can learn through ease. It's just you're choosing not to. You're operating in a space where you're choosing to learn through upheaval. And we don't have to learn that way. What I realize is that one, the emotional part of my connections, because the eighth house is all about that emotional aspect of that's intimacy, the emotional aspect of your connections. And I had spent years not sharing my truest emotions with the people that I love, that loved me. I wasn't telling them. I wasn't telling them what I needed to feel nourished. I wasn't telling them because, again, Saturn is telling me I need to restructure my communication. So I wasn't telling anybody this hurt me, this bothered me, this. I was just letting it happen because I felt like I needed to people please. What did somebody say? The cool girlfriend. Oh, she's the cool girlfriend. She don't worry about this. This don't bother her. Yes, it does. For years, everyone said the same thing. D don't get angry. D don't get mad. D don't get angry. It's a dirty lie. I was lying. And they didn't know it was a lie. They only knew what I showed them. And it was a lie. It was a lie. I get angry. I get mad. But I wasn't allowing myself to let that level of intimacy be shown with people because I felt like I couldn't. I didn't feel safe in doing so. I didn't feel safe in doing so. I also had to do some restructuring financially because, again, 2020, I get told, hey, I don't want to be married to you no more. Not only did I get told I don't want to be married to you no more, the house that we live in, you can't stay. Oh, let's keep going. House that we live in, you cannot stay. Yes, I have children. I have two children, both children with special needs. One was already diagnosed at the time and had just started going to therapy. And if anyone has a friend or family member that has a child that has to go to ABA therapy, the first time they told me what ABA therapy was going to cost, I asked them, should I start selling drugs? Maybe I should. Do I need to go to the paint because it costs how much? Why does Okay. Alrighty then. But my son needed it. So I had to figure out how I was going to make that happen. So now I'm trying to rob Peter to pay Paul because his therapy, his support for his development was important. It was important. It was necessary. And I had to figure out how to do just that. Um, Saturn in Aquarius is when, I told you my conscious awakening began. So, deepening into the things that I didn't realize, around me, like deeping into my connection with spirit. So many, 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 many lessons with Saturn and Aquarius. So now that it's moving into Pisces, so Pisces is a water sign. So everyone collectively, when Saturn moves into Pisces, the area of restriction for all of us is our need to give and receive nurturing and emotional security. It is our ability to give and receive nurturing and emotional security. Pisces is also very intuitive and creative. So we're going to be challenged to pay more attention to our intuition. We are going to be challenged to trust our intuition. And when we don't trust our intuition, Saturn is going to teach us a lesson. It's like your intuition told you to do this, but you did that. That's cool. You were able to because you have free will. You could absolutely make the decision not to listen to your intuition, but you also get to understand there are consequences or repercussions for each and every action. Those could be good or they could be not. Kind of just depends on which way you decide to go. Which part of the journey are you wanting to align to? Pisces wants to align to ease because Pisces has already done all the other stuff. So there's no reason for Pisces to want to align with anything difficult because Pisces has already undergone 11 other journeys. So Pisces is like, I'm going to align to ease. But Saturn is like, do you believe you can have it easy? I'm going to test you. over and over. For the next 2 years, Saturn is going to test us to see if we truly believe. Because Pisces is the sign of the divine. It is a sign of I believe. It is a sign of my inner knowing is on point. My inner knowing is on point, but Saturn is going to keep us grounded and not let us fly off into the cosmos. Saturn is not going to let us fly off into the cosmos so we get lost. Hold on, y'all. I'm putting my phone on the charger. So YouTube and Facebook, y'all just gonna have to know. There we go. Okay. I just trust in the story. I'm gonna trust that I am in alignment and I'm not going to let myself fly off into never, never land. So there's going to be a balance that happens where we're not going to be overly nebulous if we're paying attention while Saturn is in Pisces. So for me personally, this is happening in my ninth house. And so the ninth house is our higher mind. It's philosophy, it's religion, it's ritual, it's our personal beliefs, prophecy, it's travel. And that's really, that's important because for me, and multiple divinations of different tools, travel keeps coming up for me. So I don't know if Saturn's going to take me on a trip. I know there's at least one for me would be long distance travel that I have to go to, but it's like, where am I going? Prophecy was an interesting one considering that my dreams have always been what they are. They have always been what they are. But even this morning, on average, the average person in one night has between 4 and 6 dreams. And on average, I wrote down details from 9 different dreams. Saturn, you're not even in Pisces yet. You're not even there. You're like you're not even there yet. You're not even there yet. So yeah. It's exploration. For me, the ninth house is also the home of my midheaven, which is my public persona. So again, Saturn is about to help. Something about this is going to change. It's also the home of my South Node. So it's my past life gifts, experiences, and things like that. All of these things are going to be up for scrutiny when Saturn moves into Pisces, but it's up for learning. This is not scrutiny that's in a place where I'm going to make things difficult for you. If I've been paying attention over the last 2 years and paying attention to the glimpses and the little hints that Saturn has already been trying to give me about my ninth house, then this transit through my ninth house should not be like upheaval or making me feel stuck. If anything, I should feel more free flowing when it moves into Pisces. So I'm really excited. I'm personally excited about my Saturn transit. Pluto. Pluto. Death, rebirth, transformation. Pluto's interesting because I feel like it's significant that Pluto was considered a planet through much of my childhood, and then all of a sudden it was no longer a planet, and then it became a dwarf planet. And this for me, it's like it's too small. But Pluto influences an entire generation. Pluto influences an entire generation. Almost everyone born the year that I was born has Pluto in the same sign. Unless it went retrograde during that year, everyone that was born at the same time I was born, we all have Pluto in the same sign. It is simply in a different area of our life. But the lens, the filter that Pluto moves through, that causes us to act is exactly the same for all of us. That's why it's so important. It's 16 to 32 years. Depending on how it's retrograding, Pluto will stay in one spot from 16 to 32 years. That is a long level of influence for this little bitty thing that's not considered a real planet. But this little bitty thing has all this power. Size is just another construct like time. It is for us to relate to our physical reality. But in the grand scheme of things, what is size when you think about the divine? What's big? What's small? When you think about source, when you think about all, God don't care how big Pluto is. God said you are going to trigger moments of transformation in people. You Your role, I created you. Your purpose is to create transformation. Your purpose is to create release. Your purpose is to make them tap into their subconscious. Your purpose is to make them tap into their intimacy. Your purpose is to awaken their connection with their sensuality and their sexuality. That is your purpose. This is what I want you to do as you are moving through the cosmos. I don't care about fast or slow. These are lifelong generational lessons that need to be learned. And this is why I created you. This is what I want you to teach them. This is the message I want you to give. Whether they realize its influence or not is irrelevant to me. I simply want you to do the task. Can you do the task? And Pluto says, with fervent vigor, I shall do this thing. So Pluto's been hanging out in the earth sign. For all of us, it's been transforming not only in ourselves, but how we interact with other people. So we are also the catalyst for transformation in others. So it says, I transform myself and others through my work and accomplishments, through material means, through tangible means, through things that you can see, smell, feel, and touch. This is how I transform myself. And this is how I transform other people. So for me personally, this is happening in my seventh house. Most people know the seventh house as the marriage house. This is the house of one-on-one relationships. This is the house of you and your bestest friend. This is your house of your small, intimate groups. Like your 11th house is your groups of friends, your social network. But that group, that your clique, that is your seventh house. Your clique is your seventh house. It's also the house of your disowned self because it's opposite your first house. Your first house is the aspects of yourself that you freely present these things to other people. You do so with ease. You don't even have to think about it. When people first meet you, they meet your first house. Your seventh house, you kind of don't even, I might be that thing, but you actively seek out that thing in other people. So for me, it is success. It is, I see, I told you this was an intuitive one, right? It's about to come from my own neck. I see other people successful. Seventh house is how you see other people, the other people in your life that you care about, the other people who are close to you. So with Capricorn being the sign of I succeed, Capricorn is the sign of I succeed. It's a sign of I success and manifestation. What you have to learn from your seventh house is all the things you see in everyone else. It's also in you. So those beautiful aspects that you see of other people are also those beautiful aspects that you're within yourself. You simply need to acknowledge them. So for me personally, this is a journey of me acknowledging that I too am as successful as I see other people. It does not have to manifest in the same way because Capricorn is a sign that has to learn what its own version of success looks like. Capricorn is like, I'm going to be successful, but Capricorn's journey is learning that my success does not have to look like that other person's success. It has to look like mine. It has to feel good to me. It has to be success that is aligned to me. See, for other people, success may look like climbing up the corporate ladder. It may look like that corner office working in corporate America and sitting in there in your fine suits and your blazers and things of that nature. And that's what I thought. That's what I thought. So when did Pluto move? Pluto. Okay, so the first time Pluto went into Capricorn was in November 2008. It dipped out for a little bit and then came back. So Pluto. So Capricorn, so many of my close, intimate relationships, my one-on-one connections that either ended or I have now, all were related to me and work. Every last one of them. My closest friends, my three closest friends, my homeboys. I love y'all. My homeboys, two of them I met at one job and one I met at the other, and they were all already friends. So I met All three of them I met through work. Every last one of them. Every last one of them I met through work. Um, 2008, my ex-girlfriend and I, we were at the end. In November 2008, we were definitely at the end. And sh work. Well, I didn't meet her at work, but she influenced my career in a profound way. Um, I got my job at Pizza Hut in large part because of her, because she worked at Pizza Hut. And I used to drop her off at work and pick her up. And I would sit in the little dining area waiting for her. And because I grew up in the South and I'm Southern, in at least this one way, I speak to everybody. I smile and I speak to everybody. So customers will come in 11:11 on the clock. Thank you for the alignment. Um, so my the manager would come in and she would say, um, she would just compliment how polite I was. And I was like, okay. So she eventually offered me a job. And I was like, I'm sorry, what now? She offered me a job. And I'm like, oh, okay then. Well, cool. So she offers me the job. I'm about to see if I can charge. Even if you never looked at your birth before, I want to encourage you. It's going to behoove you to look and see which area of your life were they moving through previously, and journal about what you learned about yourself in those particular areas of life. Journal about what you learned about yourself in those areas of life. Journal about your experiences. This is how you learn. This is how you learn the language of the divine, that you pay attention to what you learned. And then you give gratitude. Thank you for the lesson. I can get off this particular hamster wheel now. Thank you for the learning and the elevation and the ascension. I can get off this hamster wheel now. Thank you for the growth and discernment. I can get off this hamster wheel now. I can get off this hamster wheel now. I just realized just now as I was thinking about it, I published a whole book of erotic stories and poems during the latter part of Pluto transiting my seventh house and Saturn moving through my house of intimacy, the occult, and sensualities and things like that. Understanding that these things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. You do not have to be swept up in the winds of the hurricane. You can stand in the eye of the storm if you to simply allow yourself to observe what is it that the Most High is trying to tell us by making these things happen. What are we supposed to learn? I knew my job time was coming. Before I got laid off, I could sense it. I could feel it. I was like, God's trying to push me someplace else. And I was like, Lord, I hear you. This is not like you telling me to leave my husband. I don't need a tower moment. I know you want me in this job. The job and I's time is coming to an end, but I'm telling you, this is what I need from you, Lord. I need money. I can't do this without money, Lord. Lord, I am a single mother and I have 2 children with special needs. I need your help. I need your help. I need your help to get this done. I need your help to get this done, Lord. So can you help me? So like that, when you pay attention to the energy, then you could see the signs and synchronicities, and then you can talk to your creator, talk to the Most High, talk to the universe, talk to your angels, talk to your ancestors, and tell them, okay, I see this. So let's partner together, because it's not that I'm trying to ignore it, but this is what I need in order to facilitate me doing what it is that you ask of me. This is what I need in order to facilitate what it is that you ask of me to do. And so God said, I did bet. I got you. I got you. So God just said, I got you. That's cool. And then every divination I got was like, don't quit. Every divination I got after that was, don't say nothing. Just let it happen. And so the day that I got the notification that I was being laid off, this was the day. Celestial alignment came up in one of my oracle cards. Tens was coming up. I'm like, something is ending today. I'm going to need y'all to tell me what it is. Because I could already, something's ending, but you won't let me see it. What's ending today? It's ending today. This is too many things happening one day. What's ending today? And sure enough, when I logged in that day, they did the whole, in my 10 year, after 10 years of service, we know you're amazing, you're wonderful, you've done so much for the, okay, Ashe. I didn't cry. Not then. I cried later. I did. I won't lie. I cried because I'm a single mom. And I've had this job for 10 years. And it's like, all right, God, I'm just going to trust you. I have no idea where this is going, but I'm just going to trust you. I'm just going to trust you. And that was the late October. So this is still pretty recent. Late October. And I'm like, you still got to figure out how to get your son to therapy. You still got to pay for therapy. You still got to get all these things done. Just know that there were things put in place that couldn't have happened any other way if I hadn't asked for it specifically. There are things that were put in place. So now it's my turn to do what I'm supposed to do. So that's why I go do these lives. That's why I do these lives. That's why I'm doing the ritual and inviting y'all to come to the ritual in March and come fellowship with me. This is why I'm building the coursework. This is why I'm shifting and making sure that I add my EFI practice to my work. So now I'm offering EFI divination and consultation as part of my work. I'm saying, hey, I trust you, so I'm just going to keep doing this thing. This is why I've in between 2020 and now I have published 7 books. I have self-published 7 books in that window of time. I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. Like Saturn is not going to stop me. I'm just going to learn from her. I'm going to learn, I'm going to listen, and then I'm going to implement the learning. So y'all go look at your birth charts so you too can implement the learning. If things go well, unless I have a client, unless I have some readings to do on Wednesday, I'm going to try to go live and do rising signs. So, you have your birth chart ready, jump on, do rising signs. And do something just so that, help give you some additional. And I might talk about Jupiter then too, because Jupiter will be going into Taurus soon. And all I see is a big, if we work the energy right. But thank y'all so much for joining. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the gifts. I so appreciate y'all. I would stay on longer, but one, I have to get small people dressed. And two, my battery's at 1%. Ashe, thank you for battery for holding it down like I needed you to. Thank you so much for the people who followed me. I hope that you enjoyed this and like the content. If you have any questions, I got free 15-minute consultations available. Just inbox me. We could talk about scheduling one. But otherwise, have a beautiful day. It's Mars Day. Do something you're passionate about and go get it. Take care. Bye. My bad, YouTube and Facebook. I did not know my mic was muted. My bad.